Well, Preka, hopefully today goes a little better than yesterday, or 2 days ago.
Yeah, fingers crossed, I guess. But judging by that two-step check last night, everything was pretty smooth on that. So
She sounds spicy.
yeah, definitely a lot more spicy.
Somebody called it. Somebody said we're gonna go from pumpkin spice to pumpkin spicy.
Yeah, that's no doubt. Some fresh fuel for it.
Yep.
Set.
So we run this car on race gas. I've always liked tuning on race gas versus anything else. So being an air-to-air car, we're going to be running on C16 as a high tolerance for intake air temperatures that are pretty high. Yeah, it's a little bit more expensive fuel, but gives you a lot of leeway, and you don't really have to have things so dead nuts. I'm not a professional tuner. It just works really good for me. I'm figuring maybe if we add some stickers to this thing, it'll start acting right. Shameless plug, if you guys haven't checked out bubbasbuddies.org, that is my wife and I's nonprofit. We lost our beloved Bubba, who was a boxer, and he was the OG shop dog of motion earlier this year, or actually at the end of last year. I'm still kind of broken up about it, but we started a nonprofit to try and help find a cure for the DM, which is the disease he had, which is essentially Lou Gehrig's disease for dogs. So we actually raised over $60,000 last year and funded a clinical trial to help the research group that's trying to find a cure for that. So if you guys have a dog, love dogs, or have a dog that has DM, degenerative myelopathy, I encourage you to check it out. We're trying to help, we're trying to make sure nobody else has to deal with that. All right, Preka got a new Power Master alternator on here. When I built this thing in 2010, I put a stock O'Reilly Auto Parts Store alternator on there. It was like an 80 amp or 110. So this one's 140 at least. It's still a little low for what I like to see done, but it's definitely better than what we had. That thing was barely charging, and on an EFI system, you definitely want to make sure you got good, voltage, amperage, all that stuff. So this should help quite a bit. I haven't ran into necessarily an issue with it yet, but knowing, how far we, yeah, exactly. Better to work on it in the air conditioning, and just want to prevent having to work on stuff as we're trying to go faster. All right, so tune-wise, it's pretty spiced up from when we were trying to get it to leave on some more boost, but I think we're just gonna send it because it seems like you always just spend time creeping up on it. So we'll just try to make it leave hard and adjust suspension. So it could be pretty comical, but hey, we'll see what happens. All right, guys, if you don't know, this is one of the OGs of Drag Week, Drag and Drive. Customs by Biggin, Eric Yost. This thing was literally not wired, not plumb, no motor, no turbo kit, like a week ago?
Yeah, pretty much.
Dang.
Pretty much.
What are your goals for the week? Because you're an OG leaf springer.
Yes. Ultimate goal 6 is a 200. 6
is a 200.
I don't know if we'll do it this week, but we're going to try.
What's some engine combo?
388 small block Chevrolet with a 12-degree symmetrical corded profiler head on it now.
Okay.
So it's got a new top end, dual fuel, pump gas, methanol, GT55 106 turbo. We just came off the dyno last night, made 1,600 loop tire on 38 pounds loop.
Wow.
And it should be right in the sweet spot now, so it's sticking up pretty good. So.
That's one of them HE and D units, right?
That's it.
Peter Harrell, he's pretty good at doing stuff.
Yeah.
So Eric actually built the cage in the Blue Mule too, if you guys are familiar. And I think you were kind of like the guy behind the tooth jerker way back in the day. So he's been behind the scenes and all kinds of cool stuff. But I'm glad to see you back, dude. It's been like 5 years, probably 4 years.
Yep.
Basically, when I was getting into Drag and Drive, you were getting out. So his trailer over here actually is a mobile bar, right?
Yep.
Got a keg in it.
2 kegs.
2 kegs. You gotta keep hydrated. This thing is actually a motion catalog, really.
Yeah. Motion TBM.
We've all kind of been friends for a while and worked together, and he builds our cars and he runs our parts. So got the shifter, got a bunch of cool stickers. We'll get the hood off later and take a look at it. So you were one of the first people to ever run TBMs on a drag car. Is that right? I heard you guys. The story is you begged them to make them.
And then basically they sent me stuff and I've made the brackets out of steel and weld them to my spindle. You know, so aired them up with the caliper and everything, welded them. That's what I've been running for a while.
So not exactly a bolt-on kit.
Not exactly, no, but it worked great. I mean,
Through the mountains, because you did Race Week too with that, right?
Pulling that trailer through the mountains in the rain.
Yeah.
No issues.
It's funny, people like seeing my Nova, they were like, those brakes, they're never going to stop anything. They're going through the mountains. I'm like,
Yeah, you're cheating.
yeah. I'm like, I'm not the first person to do this. In fact, it's been happening for about 10 years now, so. All right, so at least the car didn't break up going down the track. Only went a 135 60 foot. Felt like it was blowing through the converter, but it also, I don't know, something's not running right. So we're gonna take a look and see what we can find. Maybe there's a plug wire off or something like that. All right, so sometimes throwing that random converter in doesn't work. I called Greg Slack and I'm waiting on a call back from him, but he's thinking that conversion will be way too loose. Probably should have called him ahead of time, but we do have a few more at the shop. So I'm gonna actually just load the car up after this first pass, head back, change the converter real quick because I don't have any tools here. And then we'll come back here in a few hours, run another pass and see if we can improve on it, because what we had, not even worth hitting a road with. So I mean, it was really slow and not very good. So we can't be rolling out like that. All right, we've been here about all of an hour, strapped up, ready to go back, Preka.
Yep.
I think we can do a time challenge. How long is it gonna take us? What's your guess on how long it'll take us?
From the time to get to the shop to the time to get it running again, I'd say an hour and 20 minutes.
Hour and 20 minutes. How long, Brian? How many?
45 minutes.
Are you gonna come help? Preka, what time is it? Right this moment.
It's 1:45 and we're about to pull a transmission in record time.
So this is why I love the racing world. I called Greg Slack and said, okay, I got some converters sitting around of yours because I buy all Greg Slack converters. What do you think we should run? And he said, he pulled up all his note sheets, went through all the different converters he built for Motion Raceworks. Luckily, we got a couple of them sitting on the floor. And he said the one from the Nova is going to be a little bit on the tight side. A little bit on the tight side. Like he's, you know, he might not be able to spool it very well. But you can run it. So we're headed back to the shop right now. We're going to throw that one in. And he said, you know what? I actually got one sitting here that I built. And you know, he pulled up specs and he said, I think this thing will be about perfect for it. Still might be a little on the tight side, but it's going to be a lot better than that Nova one. You want me to get it out to you today? You can have it tomorrow. And I was like, yep. So whether this one that we're getting ready to put in works or not, we're going to have a better one here tomorrow. So as long as there's a test session tomorrow afternoon, night, we're going to have multiple chances at getting a good combination here. Look at that turtle in the roads. Hopefully nobody hits that turtle. Man, be nice to that turtle. All right, sorry. Had to interrupt the video to save a turtle. Leatherback, I think it's a leatherback, real soft shell turtle. But anyways, we got options. So we're heading back to go switch this out, but we might be doing another converter swap tonight or tomorrow. We'll see what happens. Preka did have a good point. We need to make sure we deduct about 3 minutes or so for me saving the wildlife. That turtle is going to swim another day because I saved it, and I will not apply that to my converter swap time.
Yep.
I mean, we're factoring in traffic, but I'm not factoring that in. All right, Preka, what exact time is it? 2:27.
Yep.
We're in TBMs. All right, not like we're setting world records, but it's been about 20 minutes. It's basically out. We just are waiting so it doesn't leak fluid everywhere. And we got to cut down that mid plate when it gets here so that everything will fit.
Yeah.
The new converter is made for 1/8 inch mid plate, so we're just going to make a dummy mid plate. James had a mid plate sitting around of ours, so I'm just going to trim it around the bell housing, so it's just basically a spacer, make up that space. Really just waiting on Brian to come through the door. Frankie, what are you doing there? Taking a nap?
Waiting for Brian, yep.
Waiting for Brian?
Yeah, Brian had to get that mid plate for us, so.
All right.
They're going to take a nap.
Get some sleep while you can.
Yeah, might as well.
So when they make converters, they either make them you know, for no mid-plate, 1/8 inch, quarter, whatever you have for a mid-plate. The two converters that I have the option to put in, both require an 1/8 inch mid-plate. This car does not have a mid-plate. We are just cutting a mid-plate down as a spacer, so just a little tip you guys can use, especially as you run through different converters and are trying different combinations. Just because it's made for mid-plate doesn't mean you can't use that converter. Save the turtle, Brian. There's a leather turtle in the road. Converter 1 out. Converter 2 about to go in. Of course, Frank is cleaning.
Yep.
Brian's creation here.
Not nice.
He says it's not nice, but
We'll do the job.
guess what? It'll get the job done. All right, so our spacer's in. Dowels are long enough. I already checked the bolts, so back in she goes. You know when you're getting that last bolt in and you're like, I wonder if everything's right. And then you look over at the converter and it's sticking a little far off the ground and realize that your pilot spacer is still sitting in the old converter. So back out it all comes. Not ideal. Not ideal at all. Yeah, sounds fine. Yeah. Yeah. We're gonna have to do some boost building stuff, but that's easy. Not a hard change to make, but it does spool it. So yeah, hopefully we're around to something. All right, we're loaded up. It is, what time is it? What time is it, Frankie?
It's 5:01.
5:01. A lot later than we'd hoped for. But when we started up, it apparently collapsed a lifter, so it was making a lot of noise. So we checked that out, did our due diligence to pull the valve covers off, but I think we're ready to go now. It spools up a little slow, but we can fix that with some 2D tables. At least we'll have a converter to work with here that won't blow through itself. So off to Bradenton we go. All right, back at Bradenton for the second time. Gonna go make a second rip, see how it goes. Hopefully we can get spooled and hopefully you know, it makes a good solid rip. We'll see. I know it's not, if it doesn't go that fast, if it doesn't go, it's not for a like trying, that's for sure. Yes, dude. Yes, all that hard work was worth it. I saw it went a 121 60 foot, and then felt pretty good. I did short shift it just because I was like, oh, I really wanted a 60 foot, but gosh, it feels good after all that work to get there, and the car just went down the track. So I think we can tie down the front end a little bit and get after it even a little bit more and get like a 1-team 60 foot out of it. Man, that feels good after all that hard work.
What a rip, dude.
Right?
Carried the front wheels on.
Oh yeah, it's separated perfectly and everything, so.
Yeah, man. That was so worth it after all that work.
No, it totally was. Look at what it 60'd.
121.
Look at what it went to the 8th.
514 on the first pass, dude. This thing's going 4.
Dude, it's gonna go real quick. All right, guys, so that one, I just got a little antsy. I feel bad for the transmission, I think. I've never had a car that spooled this slow. So I was on the trans brake for at least 2.5 seconds less than I was the time before, but it still went a 515, 137 mile an hour. So pretty solid mile an hour out of old Pumpkin Spice. I guess the takeaway is that until we get this thing to spool up, there's really no reason to keep beating on it. So I'm gonna wait till Red gets here. We have that better converter coming that'll go, it should spool quite a bit faster. Sorry about this light here, by the way, but it's not much light out here at the track. So that converter will spool a lot faster, but I'm a little hesitant to put it in. If Red can get this thing to spool, it's not like we're gonna have some major elevation changes. If anything, we're probably gonna have better weather because right now it's a little humid, muggy. It's not like there's a super low DA. So save the equipment. 514 is amazing. You guys have to think about it. I actually looked back last night, and my personal best in this car ever on a best day, it was like October 31st, super cold, track was glued, and it went 546 at I think 127 miles an hour. So for the same engine combo to go 514 at 137, of course we have a bigger turbo on it, but it's never 60 footed 121. Even when I had it back in the day, I think it was like a 129 60 foot was the best I ever had. Let's be honest, 2013, I didn't know nothing about nothing. I'm still not an expert tuner when it comes to suspension, but I'm so fired up. It's safe to say that Pumpkin Spice is back, and as somebody said online, we're gonna take Pumpkin Spice and make it Pumpkin Spicy. So that's it, guys. I'm gonna go home and edit this video because I told you I'd try to make a video every day. Hopefully we'll get it out today. Well, you guys will see it tomorrow morning, which is Saturday before sick week. And then we're gonna be dropping videos every single day. I brought Jordan down here, our cameraman, so that he can do some editing, he can do some filming, and hopefully we keep bringing you content. Thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to hit the subscribe. I know a lot of you guys are new here. I would love it for you guys to stick around, and the more of you that show up, the more excited I am to make the videos, the more tech tips we'll bring you and all that stuff, because I will put resources wherever my business is growing, and if YouTube's one of those places, that's where it's going. Thanks for tuning in, guys. We'll see you later.